How important is credit score? So if you're looking to buy a home, people are tapped into Credit Karma and God knows what else out there. People get so fixated on the number, the actual credit score, that I hear this one all day long. Hesh, FHA actually goes down to a 500 credit score and I have a 550, so I should be able to get an FHA loan. And my answer is no, it's not that easy, okay? You have to understand that for mortgage loans, people's information gets run through a computer program. This computer program is called an automated underwriting system. It looks at the total picture. How much money do you have in the bank? What's your debt ratio? How much money do you have for a down payment? How big is your down payment? How much money you have left over when it's on? There's 1,000 questions in there. So I've always said this to people. I always say this in my videos. If you watch these videos enough, you'll see me say, the lower your score, the higher, the more money you need. But here's the truth of the credit score for its importance. It's not the only thing that's looked at, but I will tell you it's pretty important. Generally in the mortgage industry, if you're not sitting in the 640 range and we go down to 500, if you're not in the 640 range, you're gonna have a real hard time getting qualified. This is why. The score, that physical number, if you tell me what your number is, hash it's 550, let me tell you something about your credit. Your credit score is different than your credit history. Those are two different things. The score is the physical number. The history are the accounts, the number of accounts, the type of accounts, and how well you've paid them. Let me tell you this one. The score is calculated based on the history. The history is not developed based on the score. You tell me your score, I'll tell you your history. I've only done this job for 24 years. If your score is sitting at 800, let me tell you something about your history. You've never had a late payment. That's showing on your credit. You might say, Hesh, I had bankruptcy 20 years ago. Bankruptcies stay on credit for 10 years, then they come off, okay? So if you had bankruptcy more than 10 years ago, I won't see it, okay?
Is there a reason that you're not writing this down?
So if you're sitting at 800, I've never seen it. Is it remotely possible that this is the case? I suppose it is, but I'll simply say it's impossible. There's no way on the planet Earth your credit score is sitting at 800 and you have one blemish ever on your credit. No collections, no judgments, no late payments, no nothing. That's if you're at 800. In my head, I'm thinking, credit's clean.
Well done.
Credit history. Keep this in mind. There's the credit score, there's the credit history. If the score is super high, your history's perfect. As far as the credit goes, I don't have to worry about anything. Not sitting at 800, if you're not sitting at 700. Now, 700, I've seen people with a bankruptcy from 6 years ago sitting at 702. Not many, not many at all. If you're in the sevens, you probably have a very clean credit, but there's times you get your anomalies when somebody had a bankruptcy and a foreclosure and a collection, they're sitting at 714. One out of every million, okay, fine. Well, if you're sitting in the sixes, and let's go to the extreme side of this, let's go down to 490 or something like that, okay? You say, Hesh, I'm sitting at 502, that's the score, okay? What's the history? I'm gonna tell you what your history is without seeing it. Late payments. Not late on one account, late on multiple accounts. I've seen people where they say, Hesh, well, what's the problem? And I say, it's not one singular problem. 4 years ago, you were late on your Capital One credit card. Just once. 3 years ago, you were late on your Discover credit card. Just once. 2 years ago, you were late on your Bank of America credit card. And last year, you were late on your MasterCard. And this year, you were late on your Visa. Also, 5 years ago, you were late on your student loan. What's the point I'm trying to get across to you? Every single year, it's something different. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. If your score is sitting in the 4s, 5s, or 6s, look at your credit history and ask yourself this. Do I go south on some bill? Do I not pay it or do something once every year or 4 times every year or 9 times every year? So if you're watching me, that's what you have to pay attention to. The score is important. Is it the only criteria to get the loan? No. Just because you're sitting on a 502 doesn't mean you get a loan. Just because you're sitting on an 800 doesn't mean you get the loan either. I've said this quite a bit. Just because you have perfect credit doesn't mean you get a loan. Just because you have bad credit doesn't mean you don't get a loan. There's a lot of factors involved in there. The score is super important because without even seeing your credit history, it tells me what your credit history is like. And from doing this for 24 years and right now lending in 45 states, I handle it from start to finish. I can tell you this one, the lower that number is, the harder of a time you're gonna have to get a loan. But nonetheless, this is why you gotta keep watching these videos. Subscribe to my page, like, comment, share it. This is information everybody out there needs. And if you do need a loan, give me a call. I'm a loan officer licensed in 45 states, and I know what I'm doing better than anyone out there. Easy to contact me. My cell phone's 216-780-1103. I'll be catching you on the next video.